reflect that Director Sorkin, Director Dahl, Director Yuhan are all absent, but we do have 4 people for a quorum. We do have a quorum of the board, okay, to conduct business. Everything about tonight's meeting is located either at Rockridge Schools, rockridge.org, rockridgepublicschools.org, or at the beginning, at the table in this, into the entrance of this room. I would ask everybody to please rise and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Like I said, Nicole, John, and Polly are not here, and Noel is actually across the street at the Athletic Commons, taking in the MnDOT presentation in regards to the highway.
And Cora.
And oh, yeah, yes,
today.
Cora, so 5.3, well, anyway, we'll get to that. No student rep tonight, so 5.3 can be deleted. But anyway, I will ask for a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
I will support
Motion by Reardon.
with the deletion of, if you don't mind, with the deletion of the student representative report. She's touring colleges today.
Okay. Any discussion on the approval agenda? Any additions or deletions? Okay, with that being said, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Moving along to reports.
Recognition of
Oh,
visitors.
excuse me. I take that back. Is there anybody in the public that would like to speak directly to the board on anything? No public input? Okay, we'll move along. I'm excited, you know? Okay,
Consent agenda.
consent agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Moved by Lotiger,
I second. Go ahead.
support by, we'll give it.
Lisa.
Westby. Okay, any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Now we're on to reports. 5.1. The City of Virginia Facilities Agreement. Mr. Josh Lampa, you are presenting. Is Brian Silver here tonight?
He said he was coming. I guess I'm just here to.
You can, why don't you just move to 5.2, and then we'll go back to 5.1 if he shows up. Hopefully the door's unlocked, you can get in.
It's unlocked, yeah.
Okay, good. But if you want to start with 5.1, it's the Minnesota State High School League proposed constitutional amendments, you were going to speak to that at all?
I guess we just have answers to your questions via questions. I think that's the ninth grade governance. It was in your
Yep.
Yeah. So basically the high school league governs 10 through 12 right now. And they want to add 9 to their language. It's going to be a vote by all member schools. So we'll have a vote. And that's what you guys need to vote on. It basically really means is that now your true C teams, ninth grade teams will be covered under their catastrophic insurance. So it's a good vote. It's a yes. I mean, it's a yes vote. Right now, you know, if you had a true freshman team, they're not covered if it's a true C team. So if they got in a bus accident on a C game on the way trip, they wouldn't be covered. But being that they passed this amendment, then ninth graders would be covered under a true ninth grade team, be 9 through 12.
So this requires action on your end to,
Yeah, it'll require action on my end or your end just to, we'll just,
I'll make a motion that we,
we got to vote yes or no on that as a member school.
you've got a motion by Director Reardon,
I'll second.
second by Westby. Any other discussion on that? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. And as we wait for Mr. Brian Silver to show up, maybe we can move along to
Well,
five.
I met with Brian, so if you guys have any questions on this.
All right,
He's
okay.
Just do it, yeah.
All right, so the question at the last meeting was about the facilities use agreement, and correct me if I'm wrong, board, about the time. It was a one-time, or it was money paid up to 350 hours. And if we didn't use 350 hours, we'd be reimbursed for
Correct.
per hourly.
We're only gonna be billed for the amount of hours we use. So if we, like last year, apparently we used 348 hours, so we got billed for 348 hours.
Okay,
At
so-
that rate of 350. If we were to go above that and, have that 375, then we'd get a cheaper rate. Or we're not gonna get billed for anything we don't use.
So when we go into, how many hours would you, like you say, we used 348 last year?
Yep. So
And that was including tournament time,
Yep.
tournament practice time?
Yep.
And how many hours did you feel that we'd go over if we make it to the second or third?
We're not gonna go over 400. 400 is, when we mapped this out a few years ago, 400 is the max. Like if we were at every practice there, every home game there, we'd be right around 400 hours. But we're not completely 100% there. We're still playing a few games at the hip. We're still practicing a few times at the hip. So that's why there's those 3 tiers that the city presents to us. They're trying to invite us to put more hours in so they get a cheaper rate. But I'm guessing this year we'll be between 350 and 360, around there.
And as we go along, as the years go along and, if the hours are increased or hours less, that's all negotiable, I'm sure.
Correct. And this is a 3-year deal.
Okay. Any,
So just going off of my notes, if it rings a bell for anybody, the notes that I had was, she had talked about 3 levels of hours, 350 hours at $144 an hour. There was some discussion about 2 girls' games and 2 boys' games being held over here at the hip. And then there was discussion about a flat fee for the locker rooms and ice time being an hourly rate. That's what I have written down. Does that ring a bell for anybody on
Three
discussion?
levels of pay, but you're not gonna get charged for
Anything we don't use?
anything we don't use. If we only use 325 hours this year, we're not gonna get charged an extra 25 hours. Yeah.
and the flat fee for the locker room.
There's a
That's-
flat
that's-
fee for the locker room that's in here, and that's the boys and girls locker room all year round, and the coaches' rooms. Yep. We talked, like I said, I met with him last week, Mr. Silver, and we discussed all this stuff. And there's 2 home games over here, boys and girls at the hip.
I think that part of the concern was the fact that it's not written out in the contract. It wasn't seen written out in the contract that we're only being billed for the hours being used. And I think that, again, that was, if that is the case, then it was recommended that it state that in the contract. But
That's up to you guys if you want the city of Virginia to go back and do this. I mean, I'm on your team. I don't know.
Yeah.
This is the city of Virginia's agreement, so yeah.
I think it should just say in there that you're only billed for the hours used.
Yeah, and I don't think
That-
they would disagree with that.
That's pretty transparent, as far as,
We could make a motion with the contingents that,
or the understanding.
the understanding that that's added in there and get it done with. And
I would be good with that. I would be good to make a motion to approve it with the understanding that we're only being billed for the hours being used.
so we got a
And
motion.
if an amendment would be done to state that in the contract.
Yeah, I would like to see
Okay.
it changed in the contract.
We got a motion by Lauder, support
Support
by Reardon. Any more discussion on that?
with the contingency. Yep. Okay, good.
Thank
Any
you.
more?
So when you say contingency, that means that they're gonna add their verbiage in.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, I can agree with that.
Any more discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Okay, you're done. Brian comes to the door, send him home.
Thank you.
Thanks, Josh.
Yep.
So the student rep 5.3 is not here. She's touring. 5.4, Scott Manning, you're up. You bunged the big guns.
No, I brought some honored guests to talk about North Star today. One of the things that we're doing right now, we're doing a big project-based learning. It's entitled Our School, Our Responsibility. And each class brainstormed jobs. Then they created their top 3 compared in the categories of safety, cleanliness, and a welcoming environment. And I put some of those up there. We did a gallery walk in the gym of all the posters. So that's just some of the posters that were up there that our students made. And as part of keeping our building clean and our students taking responsibility, I asked Kari to come up here to talk about, she's one of our evening custodians. So she has the pulse on what the building is like. So I was gonna let her talk about how she feels the building's being kept.
I think the students are taking great pride in the building that they have and doing an excellent job at tidying up after themselves, keeping their spaces clean. And even, I would say, not beyond clean, safe too, because if there's something going on that should be corrected to make it a more safe place, I think they are bringing that to the attention of us or their teachers or Mr. Manning. What I think is great about this is that they're learning these skills in the elementary that are going to transfer to the high school where we have a beautiful building, and they're going to transfer to the buses that they ride, and they're going to transfer to life. These are all things that they're going to use forever. So I'm very happy to say that the kids are doing a great job, and I'm thinking the school is going to stay very nice and clean and safe.
How were the bathrooms been?
We have had just a few isolated incidents that are cleaned up quickly, and for the most part, bathrooms are doing well on cleanliness. The spaces outside of the bathroom area, the sinks and the drinking fountains, they're keeping them nice. Very proud of them.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you. And then I have
What was the name of that? Our School what?
Our School, Our Responsibility.
Thank you.
Yep. And then I have our third grade, one of our third grade teams to talk about, they team teach, and they will also team teach in the open space and kind of about student behavior. So Kelly Voss and Kate Hunter.
Perfect. I brought things again this year to pass out quick. This is just a quick letter that we're going to plan on sending home to our families. I think we decided Wednesday. If you want to introduce yourself, I'll pass these out.
Yeah, I'm Katie Hunter.
Thank you.
I am the long-term substitute for Ashley Tickett.
Right, so I'm Kelly Voss. I think we met last year. I'm one of the third grade teachers. I just gave you this letter. This is what we're planning on sending home on Wednesday, but it's going to inform parents about what the team teaching process kind of looks like, but most of all, what it gives to our student body. So this year we are implementing team teaching in our classroom. Team teaching basically means it's a group of 2 or more teachers who are working together to plan, teach, and support every student's learning. The teachers in third grade who are doing this are Samantha Andrews, Jody Smith, myself, Kelly Voss, Ashley Tickett when she gets back from maternity leave, and then Katie Hunter here. How it'll work is every day, pretty much every breath, and every time at lunch we're participating in collaborative planning. We're working together to strengthen our reading and as well as our math curriculum. We're providing diverse instruction, so we have a lot of experience between the 4 of us. We have Katie, who just came out of college, and we have Jody, who has like 30 years on the job. So we kind of cast a wide net when it comes to the skills we want to focus on and the different strategies we want to use to present those skills to the students. So we're working really well together on that. Individual support, that's when we can tie in our Title I teachers, as well as any support staff such as paraprofessionals. And the nice thing about having that shared space is each of the classroom teachers can provide individual support when needed to students. So team teaching allows us to do that. And then overall, I highlighted enhanced learning environment. It's just the students are enjoying it more. They're more honed into the skills and the targets. They're just excited to come to school. And then they get to work with 4 different teachers, and they definitely find an adult they connect with in the school. So do you have any questions about team teaching? There's so many different models about team teaching, and we are just starting, so we might have to try out different models and figure out what works best for our students, and that can change year after year as our student body changes and the needs change, but we're really enjoying it. So this letter's going home to our parents on Monday. Scott also asked me to talk about the shared classroom, so that's where my main teaching area is. I'm the teacher stationed in the shared classroom in 3rd grade, so come by anytime if you want to see how it's working out or what we're doing in there. But mostly every day we have about 2 classes in that shared space learning at a single time. Again, that changes from day to day, just depending on the needs of the students and what the lessons are going to be. At a couple points, we've had all 4 classes in that shared space for fun reasons or to hit all the kids really hard on just one lesson together, and then they break out into their individual classrooms. The shared space is actually working really, really well. It's actually quiet in there. The kids can focus. My students who are in there most of the day are really enjoying it. So I did write down a few testimonials from my students about what they think of the shared space. So Grace says, "It's good. It's really good. I love it. I love everything in this classroom, and you're the most wonderful teacher." That was really sweet. Patrick, "I love it because it's big. If it's too crowded, we can move around the room." It's true. I like that too, Patrick. And then Berkeley says, "I think you have more room to play games. I like that you have 2 smart boards, and I love the big window." And of course, part of behavior, they know that they are not allowed to touch that window. Does anyone have any questions about that shared space or team teaching or anything?
I just think it's a great idea for these kids to, maybe once a week they get together, once a day they get, or a day.
You know what, it really depends, and we are fine tuning what our schedule is going to look like. So that has been, so far, it's been once a day. But we're hoping, for example, like every classroom teacher has about like 20-30 minutes of read to self time. Once those students know those routines really, really well, we're hoping that read to self time can kind of just be like, find the space that you work best, or find the quiet work time you work best. And then it allows the kids to get to know and work with all the students in the grade too.
I think it's good that like you said, all four classes get together. At least they can interact with each other, get to know each other, because eventually when they come here to the high school, they'll know each other.
Yes, we had a little get to know you party there. Was it last week or the week before? I can't believe we're on like the 3rd week of school already. So yeah, that was fun. And we had a whole group read aloud in there that was led by Samantha Andrews too. And they did such a good job. So we had about 100 kids in there just listening to the story, enjoying it. They did a really nice job. Did you have a question about the shared space?
I think it got answered, yeah.
Perfect,
Yeah.
okay. And then behavior, I feel like there's been a real responsive approach to behavior in the North Star this year. We've had several whole school assemblies where Mr. Manning has talked about behavior expectations for all students, and he has made sure that we've had the opportunity to cheer students on, highlight behaviors that are going really well and routines that are working smoothly. And then we've also had the chance to highlight things we can work better on. So it's been a really responsive, collaborative approach to behavior. So it's going really well.
Excellent.
And that's the North Star report.
Awesome.
right,
thank you.
Thank you.
Up next is the superintendent. He is not
He's
here.
Up, yeah.
He did?
Just in time.
I thought we were gonna get out of here by 6:30, Bill.
Okay,
I'm going for an hour now.
all right.
No, members of the board, I just came from, there's a Highway 53 meeting, so I just came from there. 2 things going on tonight. Had about 65 people there, lots of interest about what's gonna happen at 53. We'll bring them into a board meeting later, so you can hear directly from MnDOT and St. Louis County officials what's happening there.
Is the presentation over?
No, they're still going.
Okay, all right. All right, so
I knew
you're-
you'd miss me if I wasn't here, so I left that one and came over here.
okay, you're up.
So here's what I have, members of the school board, there are two things to go over. One of them is to go over the enrollment, where we're at. And I believe you have an updated enrollment list in front of you. And so we were asked to do this. And so the first thing to know is this year's enrollment. We are at 2,228 ADM. Before we do pre-K and before we do some tuition students, the reality of it is that there are 2,358 ADM students.
What's the number? We don't have the paperwork in front of us, so.
Oh, it's
Sorry, I
coming,
thought these were at your.
That's okay.
it's coming.
Okay, got it.
And these are
Thank you.
hot off the press. Andrea was working hard on it this afternoon to get the most accurate numbers.
Thank you.
Go.
I'm looking at the first one that says, that looks like this. This is the first one I'm looking at. And you can see as of right now, this was the 15th day, so we need to count or not count students at the end of today. And you can see, for example, in the kindergarten at Laurentian, there's 67 kids, 72 in the first grade, 65 in the second grade, and so on and so forth. You can see where there are. The bottom number here is the total ADM, and this is a state of Minnesota term, average daily membership. That means the kid is present, they're there. 2,228. There are some pre-K kids and some tuition students that are not included, so that number really is 2,358. And if you're wondering, what does that compare with last year when you budgeted? When you budgeted and made your decisions, you had a fairly aggressive number because you assumed everybody would come back. And normally, when business managers or school boards are telling the business manager what to do and how to do budgets, they usually have a regression formula where they assume some kids are leaving every year. You chose not to do that, and you chose to go with, let's hope they all can't come back. Well, they did. So that number that you budgeted on was 2,355. So Andrea was an amazing soothsayer, right dead on target. So that's probably the most important number. And then historically, you can see what the numbers were on the second piece of paper. I don't know if I'll go over this one right now. You can see it for yourself. And those numbers are very consistent. We've had a little bit of a drop from pre-COVID, and every single school district around us has lost students who either homeschooled or did some other thing. So I'm going to stop right there and ask the board if they have any questions about the student numbers that we have.
I haven't any. Any questions?
All right, so that's there for your information. The second thing I want to go over is the rough draft superintendent goals for this school year. You had asked me to come up with some goals, and so I have. And so these are my goals. So I guess what I'd like to do is just go over them quickly, and then maybe the next board meeting, you can tell me they're good, or I want you to add one, or don't do this, or do something different. So here's what I'm thinking for goals for this, from my point of view. Number one is, this is the major one, we want to implement the student behavior recommendations submitted to the school board, so they're complete by the end of May. So on all of these, there's a from X to Y by when. So here's when it starts, here's where we want it to be done, and here's the result on all of these goals. The second one is, because we got to remember, we still have the Gilbert School property out there. So starting now would be to complete the sale of the Gilbert School property, excluding the bus garage. In our perfect world, I believe you'd like this to go to the city of Gilbert, have first shot at it, and have this done by June of 25. Number three, we still, this one, to complete the sale of the Evelyn School property and belongings to the city of Evelyn by the end of May 2025, even though I believe it'll be done sooner than that. Number 4, this is another one based upon what the school board decided, beginning now. Continue the process to evaluate the buildings projects relative to special ed, transportation activities relating to the 1404 building so that you have all the information you need to make a decision on what you want to do no later than June of 25, even though I think you're going to have the information before that. Number 5, this is related to the meeting I just came with. Starting now, continue working with MnDOT and St. Louis County to help clear any hurdles or obstacles that might show up so the Highway 53 projects are successfully completed as they relate to us so that the roadway is open by the start of the 25-26 school year. Number 6, make recommendations to you, the school board, so that you have all the information that you need to pass a balanced budget. So I'll be asking you in a few months here, what do you need? What are you looking for so we can work on the budget for next school year? Number 7, providing you're okay with this, I'm going to increase the frequency of the monthly updates to the school board on progress to the district strategic plan, so that you hear at least monthly from some area what's happening on the strategic plan, rather than all of it happening all at once, which is what happened last year. Number 8, visiting the classrooms of 3 Rockwood teachers anywhere pre-K to 12, 3 a week. So by the end of May, I will have been in 102 classrooms. Number 10, starting now, this is a new one. Complete Clifton Strengths Finder training by the end of the year. I've started that with the administrative staff, the admin-related staff, and I'd like to include you in on that. What that is that typically when we are looking at how to get better individually, we tend to look at weaknesses, like let's improve our weaknesses. Let's get better, weaker. That's not really how people get better. They really get better with their strong areas, using their strong areas to work around issues. So this has been done all over the world. It's used in business extensively. So I guess I don't want you to miss the fun. So I'd like to do that with the board members. This includes the board members here, and then any new board members that might be coming on in January. And the purpose is, let's work together focusing on our strengths rather than any weaknesses we may perceive someone to have. Because that's really how things get done. Number 10, starting as soon as you give me the green light, this would be different. I'd like to complete 1 video narration a month that I would do of Rock Ridge activities or events, so that, and we'd put them on the Facebook, wherever, so that you'd have one of them from me every month that would go out to parents and kids and everyone. Number 11, we haven't done one of these for a while. We did them quite a bit years ago, but do the Q&As again that we put in the Mesabi Tribune, Hometown Focus. And those mostly really are intended for people who are not in the school system, because they aren't necessarily listening to board meetings, or aren't going to events, but they're still curious and interested in what's going on in the board. And so people who are not in the school, they always like finding out what was going on. Number 12, I'd like to increase the frequency. I give you updates. I'm about to send you another one, but it's got a couple months in there. So I'm going to increase those to once a week. So you're not waiting so long to get updates, so you find out what I'm doing and where I've been and who I'm talking to. And then the last one would be, we want to evaluate not just the buildings, but the special ed needs. And I'd be working with Stephanie, your new special ed director, quite a bit on this, to make recommendations to the school board by the end of June 25, so you know this is how many paras we're going to need. this is how many school psychs, this is how many speech paths, OT, PT. So we'd have that all laid out for you to see and look at, so you knew what we were probably and recommending to in special ed. And that's it.
When you, on number 5, you talked about the highway. Are you also gonna be monitoring the county road progress with the city of Evlith at all?
All of, when I say 53, everything is looped in
Okay.
to what would happen. And this would also include politically, because we need a little more money to complete especially the spur from Laurentian to hooking up to the road to Gilbert and to 53. We really want that spur to happen. So yes, it would be everything inclusive in there. And I will add that in there.
On 10, I'd like to see some information for the parents about academics in there. So, in some way, shape, or form, like how our kids are doing in this district.
I will add that. Okay?
And then on 11, we already have the Mesabi and hometown focus, right? So this isn't gonna add money to putting out that information, or are you
You've been
plan?
doing this on a
Right.
regular basis.
So this is, I just wanted to confirm
Yep.
that. And then, what was the other thing? I think maybe 12. No, I think that was it. Okay.
All right.
And if you think of something during the week, just email me and I'll add it or make whatever changes.
Okay.
And that's it.
All right.
Good list.
Okay, this is a good list. Moving along to 5.6 Treasurer's Report. Can I get a motion to approve the Treasurer's Report?
So moved.
By Director Reardon. Support by Director Lotiger. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right, up next is 6.1. I think, Andrew, you were going to speak to that.
Good evening. Every year we have the time to certify our levy. So this year is the 24 pay 25 levy. So I'm asking that you would certify it at maximum. Then we will have, it is still in adjustment phase. We have until September 30th with the state of Minnesota to make any adjustments. And then our truth and taxation meeting would be held on Monday, December 9th at 2024 at 6 o'clock here at 1405 Progress Parkway. At that time, it is, we would make a presentation in regards to the levy, and then we would certify it at what we decide at that point. Property owners pay taxes in May of 2025 and October of 2025. And then we receive the funds for our fiscal year 26. You'll see on our levy, right now, keep in mind that this is it's in adjustment phase. I lost my train of thought. It's in the adjustment phase, but right now our levy did not go up that much. Currently it's at 1.6% increase. We had a removal of OPEB debt from the former Evlith Gilbert district. Our taconite funding also increased, which helps offset that to the taxpayers. So I ask that you would certify it at maximum while we're still in the adjustment phase.
Okay, so the recommendation is to approve the preliminary 2024 pay 2025 levy at maximum. Can I get a motion for that?
So moved, Reardon.
Moved by Reardon. Support?
Support.
Support by Lotiger. Any discussion?
Yeah, I'm just thinking, we had such a high thing last year. Can we make it without going up 1.6%? Do we need to, can we just sit still for a year
Meaning,
and not do the 74,022?
oh, to not increase it?
Yes.
Yes, you would have that opportunity in December. It would be recommended to do it then. Right now, it's still in fluctuation with the state and with all the calculations. It might continue to go up and it might go down. It's just in fluctuation at this time. It's a different type of process.
This is just preliminary,
Yep,
And it's
that was the
typical that
letter
it's,
that came from.
and it's typical that we approve it at max.
max, yeah.
Any more discussion on 6.1? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. 6.2, consider approval of amendment to the agreement between ISD 2909 and the Quad Cities ATV Club.
Thank you, Andrea.
Thanks, Andrea. I believe last meeting we discussed what was discussed in the Buildings and Grounds meeting in regards to some wordage, being that it was District 706, what was it?
706.
706, and everything, the wording had to be changed to 2909 with the increase of signage on the trails. They'll make sure that the school forest is not damaged by these ATVs.
And just for clarification, we're not, this is, because I received some feedback on it, and we're not keeping them from going through that space. We're just asking for more signage and to,
Right, and fortunately, we have two experts here. One I know, Director Reardon has been involved in the school force a long time. Scott is here because he was with a group of teachers and the trail group to hack out the agreement. Scott, can you tell the board, what are the big things that are different in the agreement, or what changed, other than the name change from Virginia to Rock Ridge?
And then Ms. Collins, help me out if I misstep at all on this. We had a meeting with the ATV Club this last week to get everything worked out, and we went line by line, and we believe we've gotten everything worked out. We're taking, well, the signage, the biggest issue was there is a gate, or they're gonna put a temporary gate up from the ATV trail that accesses our property, and then by the end of the school year, they're gonna put a more permanent gate up in that same spot, so that if we ever have to get an emergency vehicle, we can get access our property that way. And no ATV will be able to go into the property that way. And then we'll have speed limit signs, we're gonna have school forest signs. What am I missing?
Stay on trail signs.
We had talked about cameras. So speed limit signs are huge. And we want unimpeded access for the school buses on the old County Road 303. Even on Friday when we were there, we met a few ATVs on the county road. And so we need our school buses to have unimpeded access to that. And with that, eventually, regular maintenance would be done by the ATV Club on Old County Road 303.
And we had all shareholders at the meeting. So we had people representing the school, we had people representing the ATV Club, and we had people representing the DNR to make sure we were all right. And everybody left the meeting with an agreement, and then I emailed it, I think it's in the board packet, what that agreement is. I'm waiting for the vote here, and then we can sign it.
Okay.
And another thing is that there wasn't a term limit on the old contract. We put it's 3 years. So in 3 years, if neither party is satisfied, we can renegotiate terms.
Okay. Any questions for Scott? So can I get a motion to approve 6.2?
So moved.
Moved by Reardon,
Second.
seconded by Westby. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Item 7, meeting announcements. The next regular meeting is Monday, October 14, 2024 at 6 p.m. here in this building. Item 8, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Oh, no, we don't want to go so soon.
so moved.
Moved by Lotiger,
Second.
second by Westby. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Good night, everybody.
Thank